Hello everybody, this is Dr. Bradshaw. I wanted to introduce myself and introduce you all to this course. So I'm making this short video so that we can go over most of the requirements for the course so you have a good understanding of the requirements that are going to be asked of you and let you know how to find additional help if you need it. So again, I'm Dr. Lauren Bradshaw. I am a social studies educator through and through. I taught social studies for 10 years and I got my PhD in teaching social studies. So this is my favorite thing to teach. I'm really excited to teach you all, and we have some fun different activities that we're going to do throughout the class. So let me just kind of start with breaking down your syllabus. You all have a copy of the syllabus now, and I want to encourage you all to please don't get overwhelmed. I know when you look at it all, it can seem like a lot, but we're going to break it down by section. Remember that this course is normally taught, 16 weeks face-to-face, where you would have readings to do as well as activities to do, and we are doing it online in 8 weeks, so that means that all of our activities are quite compressed. But it's my job to get you more up to speed with the social studies content as well as different pedagogy that you want to use in your classroom. So that's how we have it divided. We have pedagogy activities as well as multimedia posts, which are going to be your social studies content. So basically, to get through this course, you need to do 8 multimedia posts and explanations, 8 pedagogy activity posts and descriptions. You have your key assessment, which is a digital journey box, and your final exam, which consists of 3 essay questions that you can use your study guide that I am going to share with you. As well as, that's part 1, and the second part is a gallery walk of your journey box. You have face-to-face meetings, so on June 18th I'll be doing journey box demonstrations so that you have a full understanding of what is required for you for your key assessment. And July 30th is the part 2 of your final exam, where you will show me your journey boxes in a gallery walk. And then also, we're going to have one 10-minute virtual meeting around week 3, which is over the phone, where you will discuss with me your journey box assessment individually. So I make sure that everybody has a handle on their topic and where to find resources. Okay, so let's go through each of these things one by one. So part 1 is the social studies content. This is the stuff that you need to know content-wise for social studies grades K through 5. It doesn't matter if you're teaching 5th grade or if you're teaching kindergarten, everybody has to take the same case. So we are going over all of that content. Basically, to get your social studies content, with the exception of week 1, you are going to be listening to podcasts each week and watching Crash Course U.S. History videos. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Crash Course U.S. History videos. They run about 10 minutes long, and the podcasts are of varying lengths. Some of them might be 20 minutes, some of them might be 45 minutes long, but I would encourage you all to listen to a podcast as you're driving to and from work or school, and then the Crash Course video, again, is only about 10 minutes long. And you use these 2 different mediums to create your multimedia artifact. What your multimedia artifact is that when you're listening to the podcast and you're watching the videos, you are thinking about things in your own life. It's reminding me of movies that you've seen, books that you've read, and you are making that connection. You're going to share that item with us, that artifact with us, and then you're going to explain how it connects to the content that you listen to and watch that week. And for your final exam, you will have a study guide, and I'm encouraging you all to use the multimedia artifacts posted by your peers to help you fill out your study guide. So, how to create a multimedia artifact. This can be anything that you make a connection to when you explore the social studies content. It could be a movie, it could be a song, a comic, a book, a newspaper article, a meme, a primary source. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you explain how the topic relates to the multimedia artifact. So, what connection are you making? So if we were using the topic of westward expansion, so I did some reading, I listened to a podcast on that. I watched a video on westward expansion. I am now going to create a multimedia artifact. So for instance, I might use a picture, a primary source of the Mars rover. And how I'm connecting this is that just like westward expansion, America was trying to extend its borders west and have new territories. I see similarities with that with the Mars rover exploration, and the fact that, hopefully we will be sending people to Mars eventually to set up a space station and see where that leads, which could lead to people actually living on Mars one day. So I would give a little more detail into what exactly I read and watched on the videos, but that's generally it. So that could be one example of a multimedia artifact. I might also have a picture of the Sacagawea, I think it's $1, actually. Sorry, it's $1. And thinking about Sacagawea and her role in the Lewis and Clark exploration, and how if it hadn't have been for her, what would that have been a successful journey, and how would westward expansion be changed in the history of our country, because she was there to speak and translate and help them navigate territories that they had no idea. I might also think about this could also lead me to thinking about other people who were left out of the stories in history. It could think about how westward expansion impacted American Indians. And that could be what I talk about in my one paragraph explanation. I might also think about my youth, which I know this is probably going to be way too old for you guys, but there was this really fun game called Oregon Trail. And Oregon Trail was, you were trying to migrate west. It had really terrible graphics, but mostly you died of cholera and dysentery. And so I could make connections to the struggles that people encountered when they were trying to move west. Not only the people who were moving west, but the people who were being moved because they occupying territory that the United States was then expanding to. So that could be an example of a multimedia artifact. And then a meme is my final one here, which has westward expansion, move or be moved, which is kind of what I was just speaking about. There's a lot. We're always thinking of, sea to shining sea. We're taking over the continental U.S. It's manifest destiny. But there were also people who were living there before, and when we are, you are going to, if we're expanding, you're either going to get out of our way or we're going to make you move out of our way, which often ended in very bloody conflicts. So I'm explaining myself kind of briefly here, but you would write that up with whatever your multimedia artifact is. I mean, it can be a book, it can be a sitcom, it can be an entire movie. Now, I'm not going to watch the entire movie. Maybe you just include like a scene from it, but you just want to give me a quick synopsis as to how this connects to what it is, the content that you read for the week. They're really a lot of fun to read and see how you all interpret the different content, and it'll be a fun way for you guys to fill out your study guides. Okay, so that's our social studies content. The other half of the course is dedicated to pedagogy. Each week for pedagogy, you will have different readings, okay? These readings might be chapters, they might be lesson plan, they could be a blog post, there's even a TED Talk. So you are going to consume these different readings, and then you are going to also create a different activity. So I have different activities that are placed throughout the course, and you will use what you read and connect it to the activity that we're doing for that week. So for instance, our first week, we are doing body biographies, and I'll show you the template for that in just a second. Also, everyone I hope has already gotten a copy of your text that is required, which is Changed by Laurie Halse Anderson. This is a historical fiction novel. It's the first in the set of 3 I bet many of you guys are going to be tempted to buy the second and third book because it's a really great story. We will be using this in our pedagogy activities for week 4 and week 5. So you don't have to have it read until week 4. I will tell you, it's probably most of you all could read it in 2 to 3 days because it's, like I said, it's very engaging. It's a good book to read while sitting at the pool. But that is going to be part of our pedagogy reading. So let me show you your body biography. So you can print this out and erase the text and write it yourself, or you could just use your Adobe PDF and then erase it and write in the little boxes that I have. You could even draw your own. I'm not picky. But what it is that you have a biography of a person that you are reading about in either your pedagogy readings or your content readings for this week. And the biography is going to be, you were looking at different aspects of them. So for instance, their heart, what do they love? Their hand, what were their plans? What were they involved in? What goals did they have? Their feet, what ideas did they stand for? Things like that. I did add a different little box here for this hand, what challenges have they faced personally? Have they made mistakes? Were they resolved? So when we talk about, especially with the first week, we were talking about heroes in history. It's really easy to make heroes out of everybody, but we're all humans. So you don't want to shy away from topics just because they're not positive. So you want to think about that when you're creating your body biography, and then you're just going to post it to our Post 2 and D2L. And that would be your pedagogy activity, and then you just write a short little description as to how that relates to the readings that you read for the pedagogy activity that week. Trust me, it's going to be glaringly obvious how they're connected. Okay, so some of the pedagogy activities require presentations. I'm using Screencast-O-Matic right now, which is awesome. It's free. I can record my face if I want, or I can record my face and the screen, or just the screen. You can use PowerPoint, Prezi, anything you can do a voiceover for, just as long as I don't have to download anything fancy. I think there's 3 times in the class that you need to do presentations. The rest of them you can just post the pedagogy activity and write the description. I will tell you 3 out of your 8 pedagogy activities will go directly in your digital journey box, which is your key assessment. You'll see which ones are going to be going into your journey box listed on the syllabus. And when those weeks happened, which are the last 3 weeks, starting week 6, 7, and 8, you will simply just post the D2L, the link onto D2L for your digital journey box. Okay, so your study guide, let me show you. Your study guide, you can work into groups of 4 to complete it. You can use the multimedia artifacts posted by you and classmates to fill it out, but you're not restricted to just researching by using multimedia artifacts. Use whatever resources you have, including your own brain if you remember the answers to this stuff, and the different references that I have to assist you. For your final, which is 3 short response questions that will be completed online individually, you can use your study guide. You can have it printed out with you the entire time. So I want you to get the most out of it. Literally what I did is I took every single standard from K through 5 social studies in the state of Georgia, and I flipped them and turned them into a question so that if you have the study guide completed, you can take it to your classroom and know that you have all of the content that is going to be required of you as a social studies teacher. So the other part of the final is going to be your gallery walk of your completed journey boxes, and that will occur on July 30th, and this will only be about an hour. It should be a really fun day. But let me show you a picture, not a picture, but I'm going to show you your study guide. So the study guide, I have a lot of, this is all instructions, but this shows you the links to the different podcasts and how they align with the content in your study guide. I also have the Georgia Standards resources. So if you go to the teacher notes, it has all of the answers to the study guide there. But it goes by grade level, not chronologically, which is what is on the study guide. I'll also tell you, I listed the